I'm not going to let a man come tell me how I should look like. A man to tell me that because you have high testosterone, because you have a deep voice, because you have this, you are not woman enough. No.
I'm Carol Ofori, and this is the Carol Ofori Podcast for thought-provoking conversations. She is a 2-time Olympic medalist, a 3-time 800-meter champion. She's a mother, she's a wife, she's a daughter, and she is a sister. This woman has just released her book titled The Race to Be Myself, in which she takes us on a journey through her younger years in rural Limpopo to her glory on international athletics tracks, and now to her ongoing fight for what it means to be a woman in sport. And I call her an international human rights icon. Caster Semenya. Welcome to the Carol Ofori Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. So I've been reading this book. It's beautifully written. It's honest. It's earnest. It's I can see it's a true raw reflection of who you are. What made you write this book?
I think it's more of me being ready. But the most important thing is to educate people, for them to understand, their basic, human rights. I think it's one thing that is lacking, in this world. We tend to think when you know your rights, that's when you're an activist or you're an icon or you name it all. But I think it's just a reminder to each and every one to say, hey, you must know your rights, you must know who you are, own your identity. And I think this is about humility, and self-love, self-actualization, as much as, the book's title is, The Race to Be Myself. I think it's just for each and every individual out there just to be reminded that you matter. Yeah. You should, love yourself the way you are, and regardless of what, I think I'll say, yeah.
It sounds like that encompasses your life's purpose. Or would you paint it more?
Yeah, of course. I think it's more of when you know your purpose and then you live, through it, you make sure that you go out there, fulfill, that purpose. I think it's always important knowing where you're coming from, especially your roots, knowing your culture, knowing what you stand for. And if you know that you are the change, be the change that you want to be, as much as Mahatma Gandhi said it, I always follow through those. But I'll say, I'm the change that I want to see. Yeah. And I live through it, and I'm a woman of my actions, and they always say, actions speak louder than words. So we dream it and then we do it.
Now, what I loved about the book is that you literally you get into it about how the world has been defining you, how your body has been, everybody's topic of discussion. Can you talk us through, for those who don't understand the DSD, differences of sexual development, what it is, and specifically to you?
Of course, DSD is more for when you're a woman, you're born with the chromosomes, XY, it's more for, mainly it's men who are born with that. But in a condition like this, in the medical terms, we call it more of intersex, where you're a woman who's born with no uterus, you don't go to a cycle, you can't bear kids, and it's more for the variation of your testosterone, goes high, but it's not effective. It's just a disorder. You can't produce sperm, you can't produce anything. Yeah. It's just a disorder that is in your body. But I think for me, it's important, to educate people about that, because particularly people who are coming from the rural areas who are not advanced, who are not, exposed, to the medical care, where parents don't really have an idea of, what their kids are going through, what conditions, the kids can maybe. But, the symptoms like that, where you see, a young girl, is not going through a cycle, you can see that, they have a deep voice, they are more masculine. I think as a parent, you need to start having that relationship with your kid, making sure that you know them, you understand them. Then at least don't be an enemy. Try to know your kids, at least know what they're feeling inside, what is it that they want, what is it that makes them happy. I think for me, writing this book is just to, educate people out there about, self-love, self-actualization, self-management, but as well as having the relationship with yourself. I think it's more important to know yourself, before any can, explain anything to you. It's very important where I'm coming from the rurals, and then I get into the city, and then, my medical, records are being exposed, in public, and you don't want that, as a young girl. So my goal is to make sure that I communicate as much as I can. I educate, I open them eyes, so they can go out there. If you're different, you can feel it. Just go there, discover yourself, sit down with your parents, and then see what you can do about the situation. Because at the end of the day, we always say charity begins at home, and if you get that love and support from your own, you will know yourself. It's about self-identity, and that's the most important thing for a human can do for themselves.
Yeah. Now, World Athletics has been saying that the reason why they won't allow women who have DSD to participate is to protect women's sports. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
No, that's nonsense, because in sports there's no level. You can never level sports. In men, in women, it can never. Even if you're a sports scientist, you can go study physiology. You will know that every individual, they are born with their variation in the body. They are born with the differences. But you have to understand that to be a champion, you must be that special one. And you can't fight that. We're not God. We can't control nature. And for them saying that a woman with testosterone, high testosterone, it plays a role, it doesn't. Because if you were a man, probably I could have been meshing, those times, with men. I could have been doing men do, you understand? So for me, I still really don't understand when they come and say they've done the research over 10 years. Yeah. Their research that they've done over 10 years is that it's through numbers. If you understand research, it's more quantitative, it's not qualitative, because if you look at the numbers of women, who are tested, they talk based on the number of women with DSD, and they come and then they discriminate them to say, no, because they have masculine, body, the body is lean. All women, they are lean out there. There are women whose, biceps and triceps, they have a huge six-pack. They move like, they are men. They run, particularly 100 meters. You look at 100 meters, 200 meters. You look at 1,500 meters. You look at 5,000, 10,000. Those women, they smash in times. So are you going to tell us that because they're running fast, there's a problem, with them? They can beat me. I can't match those times. Here I'm trying to show people that men should use their common sense. They should start understanding that women's sports should be, run by women's sports. Women should be the ones to decide if there is unfair advantage or not. Yeah. If women have a problem with me, I don't have a problem. I'll walk away. Yeah. But if a man is going to come tell me because you have a high testosterone, you play, advantage, it plays, advantage role to other women, I don't really understand, because same women that are running with me, they're still running same times. I'm not even faster than them. You get what I'm saying? But what I can say is that I'll always fight for that injustice. I'll never stop. But their research sucks.
In simple English,
it sucks. Yeah. It has been misleading. They've published the journal. They've admitted it. So they must do better.
Yeah. As you mentioned, you have a higher testosterone than the average woman. And that's pretty much what's made the world, inverted commas, fear you, inverted commas, because of your speed, your agility. I read the book and I discovered that your early days of competing, you were not always number one.
No,
but everybody thinks Caster has always been anytime you run, you come first. And that's what I think people misunderstand. They don't understand that you, very young, hurt your knee. You were in hospital for months. Yeah. You didn't even think you were going to end up being a runner. You were into soccer. Yeah. And then as time went, here you are competing and you're being beaten by other girls.
Yes,
so talk to me about the fact.
I like the fact that you had to mention the speed and all those things.
Yeah.
Speed comes through training. Everything comes through training. If you want to lead body mass, you train.
Yeah.
Same as everyone. And of course, as a young girl, I remember I never win every races that I ran. Yeah. Even 2008, I went to the World Juniors. I was out in a heat because I did not have knowledge. I did not have a kind of a training that all those girls had. And when you're coming from African soil, you do great. then you start doing the wonders. You start beating all the world. Then it becomes a problem. That's where you start understanding that when you're not winning anything, people don't talk.
Yeah.
People start talking when they see great things. And for me, I've always saw that as a joke to say, look, if the Western have a problem with us, coming in the organizations that they've established, you should just put straight, be clear, say, like, you guys are not welcome here. Because if you look at all these issues about gender, all those things, they affect only brown skin colored people. It never affects, a peach, skin colored. You understand? I'm not going to talk about white and black because I don't believe in that.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So it's more of saying if you're going to discriminate one, you start reminding us about our history, and particularly if it's someone who's coming from that history where we know about the British and the Dutch. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if it's applied by someone who's coming from that, it takes me back to where it all started. You understand? And I'll be like, if your constitution says don't discriminate, say no, to discrimination and racism. So why are you still acting in that manner if you are a president of a certain organization?
Right.
So, but for me, I'll say, look, if you think testosterone play a role, if you have high testosterone, particularly men, I'm not even going to talk about women.
Right.
Can you take out the spikes and jump to the track and go run 100 meters with those men who are running, 9, 6, 9, 7. You get what I'm saying? Let's see if one man can do that. To show that testosterone does not play a role.
So you say there's no unfair advantage.
There's no unfair advantage, because if there was advantage, as I talk now, if I go to the track and run, if I run 154, I'll say yes, I have advantage. Because advantage, you get that advantage based on the training that you do. Each and every individual get advantage from the skills, the time that they put in training, hours, sweat, skill, because you study your event. That's your advantage. If you're intelligent, that's your advantage. You can't get advantage because you have high testosterone. That does not even mean nothing.
So I'm going to ask you this question. The BBC spoke to athletes who had high testosterone, female athletes that had high testosterone. And Olympic medalist Margaret Mamboy from Kenya said that maybe, and I quote, she says, it would be good if a third category for athletes with high testosterone was introduced. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that is something that should be introduced, where there is a third category?
That's desperation. You speak out of desperation. There's no such as that category. You get what I'm saying? You have to understand that when you're a woman, you're a woman. Your differences don't make you, less a woman. You get what I'm saying? So when she says, she considered a third category, it's because she's desperate to compete. For me, I wouldn't allow someone come segregate me from other women. I'm a woman. I'll remain a woman. It does not matter. You get what I'm saying? Because of the minute you start allowing someone to segregate you, they've done that years ago. You're still going back, allowing the very same system to cage you as a woman. So that means you allow the very same, regime to come and make you believe that because of I'm a different woman, I shouldn't be with women. No, I don't believe that, because I know her personally. She's desperate to run. I feel sorry for her. I sympathize with her. But for me, I'm a woman. I'll remain a woman. Whether rules or no rules, at the end of the day, we need to stand out there to educate these young, women in Africa, to say you need to stand for yourself. You need to stand, on what you believe is right. Do not allow someone come and install their ideas on how you should look like as a woman. Yes, I agree. I'm different. I have high testosterone level, but that does not, separate me from women. You get what I'm saying? So for me, I just feel sorry for those who want to fit in. You want to try hard to fit in. No, if it was meant to be for me to be in the sports, I'll remain. But if the role I played for that last 10 years, it was the one that I had to play, I'm free and I'm ready and I'm happy. So what I will do is that I'm not going to let a man come tell me how I should look like. a man to tell me that, no, because you have high testosterone, because you have a deep voice, because you have this, you are not women enough. No. If you say it's necessary for women's sports to be leveled, let women, decide what's right for women. Don't come and install ideas to young girls to say, no, maybe they may be a third category. No. Women is women. It will never change.
And that's that.
Let's
talk gender roles, which is a big theme that runs through,
of course,
in your book around gender roles. You spoke in your book about how you hated doing like girl chores, washing dishes. You even had a fight with your sister.
Of course.
And then you moved to Granny's house and you were doing all of those roles.
Yeah.
How do you define gender roles?
I don't think there's any gender roles. There's no a role that is meant for women. There's no role that is meant for a man. If you feel comfortable on doing whatever you want to do, I would say do it, because at the end of the day, it's about your abilities. It's about doing what you like. You understand?
Right.
I don't think there's a role for a man. There's a role for a woman.
Yeah.
If we speak now, there are women who are engineers. There are women who's they're shuffling. They're doing this. They're doing that. For me, it don't exist that thing. It existed long time ago about our great fathers. Where they believed that a woman should be in the house, a man should be doing hard choices. Now, a woman can still do that. A woman can still be responsible and take care of the family. Can still go work. They can still do that. A man can still cook. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no such as thing. We are modernized. We don't believe in those things.
Right.
If it worked for our great fathers, it's fine. It worked for them. But us, the new generation, we don't believe in such things. And for me, growing up, I felt more comfortable on doing gardening, going in the bush, looking after, the livestock, doing all those choices, painting, like fixing. That's what made me happy. But then when I went to my grandmother's, home, I could see that, them boys are lazy, The grandmother always needed, someone who will do the washing. I could do that, but I never liked doing them, when my sisters were around, because I felt like it was their responsibility for them to take care of me, you understand? Yeah. And when I was with my grandmother, I was like, what, I don't have a choice. At the end of the day, I have to clean. I don't like being in a, untidy place. I need to be neat and do all those things. And I've done those things. And when I talked to my mom, she was like, no, I like it because at least you are in a place where you learn, how to be responsible. It's no longer about you just doing, the gardening, just going, in the bush, hunting and doing those things. But you can still do the other side. So when you have your own household, you can also manage it. Yeah. And I appreciate that. Yeah. So for me, I cannot say, when we talk about the gender roles, that's nonsense.
So let's go a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
In the book, one thing you keep reaffirming is, I am a woman.
Yes.
I might be different, but I am a woman. How would you define being a woman? What is your definition of woman?
A woman, look, I'm kind, I'm caring. I mother my kids, I mother my nieces. I make sure that I give them that love and care. Yes, I might be more bold, but the love I give my kids, it's about care, loving, supporting, making sure that I'm there emotionally. You understand? I'm accommodating, I'm open, and I'm free. I allow my kids to be who they are. You understand? So I would say a mother is love. It's caring.
It's got nothing to do with your sexual organ.
Nah, it has got nothing to do with your sexual, orientation or whatever. So if you are able, as much as you are a father, it's the same thing. You understand? When you are a father, you should be loving, you should be caring. You get what I'm saying? You should be supportive. Yeah. But when you are able to protect your kids, when they wake up and then they say, mother, that's what you want.
Right.
Or a father. If you're a father, that's what they will do, because that's what you give to them. That's the definition. No one can come, I don't expect anyone to come and call me a mother, because I don't mother you. I mother my kids. You get what I'm saying? I would say the quality of being a woman or being a mother, it comes through you. It comes through your actions. It comes within. You don't need to accept anyone. You need no validation to no one. The validation that you need is within. It's with you. How you treat your kids. Simple.
So from a young age, you have been fighting. You said you hated bullies.
Yes, yes.
You had Biggie and you showed Biggie and you met up with Biggie later in life, and Biggie's got kids now.
No, he's a good guy.
You've been fighting your whole life. Will you ever get tired of fighting? Because it seems your whole life you've just had to fight for this, fight for that, fight for the right to race, fight in court now. Will you ever get tired of fighting?
I'm in KwaZulu-Natal. If you know Shaka Zulu story, you'll understand.
Yeah.
When you fight for what is right, what you fight for what is yours, of course you never fight. You never stop fighting. I think for me, I'll say fight. It's more of a. I think each and every individual. Every day it's fighting. You know, you're fighting for your life, you're fighting for your rights, you're fighting for what belongs to you. But not particularly just a fight. It's just a way of when we live, we come across the challenges and we overcome them. So a biggest, story is one of those stories where people come, they insult you. I still come through insults, but now I fight them in a different way. I'm civilized, I'm matured, I have a sense of humor. If you come, you give me an insult, I'll just look at you because you don't exist. I don't see you. You get what I'm saying?
That's very painful.
Yes, I just make you feel like you're nothing. I don't see you. You get what I'm saying? Because you avoid conflicts, you avoid being like them. So, but as a kid, of course, I'm going to show you who am I. You understand? I'm going to show you I can punch, I can do all those things because I want to protect myself. But now I think it's about, when you are matured enough, when emotionally you're good, psychologically you're good, you have good sense of humor, then you don't necessarily need to fight. If someone comes like, you look like a guy, I'm going to say, so what? What you going to do?
And
you
that
get what I'm saying?
That leads me to my next question, where you say you've always turned your criticism into fuel.
Yes.
And what would you say is the number one thing for someone to learn that trait? Because a lot of us, we internalize our criticism. Yeah. Very, very, very few people can do what you've done with your life. Being criticized on a world stage like that, your body literally just for everyone, and you still have the fuel from that criticism. It's really important you share with us how you convert that to fuel.
I think it's about taking total ownership of yourself. Self-identity is very important. If you know yourself, you understand yourself, but it comes with self-love. If you respect yourself, you appreciate yourself, and you love the person you are.
Yeah.
The minute you start judging yourself, you start questioning yourself.
Yeah.
You start criticizing yourself, of course. You're going to lead the very same thing when someone comes, with that judgmental, criticism, discriminating, all those things. Of course, you're going to allow it. But if you don't allow that to yourself, it's very easy because for me, I love myself. I love everything about my body. I love everything. I love my voice. I love how I walk, I love how I dress. So anyone comes with their perception, it's got nothing to do with me. You understand? Yeah. What's important is if you love what reflects, on that mirror, you say, you know what, God damn it, I love it. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
I love what I see. And then it gives you that, positive mind, it gives you positivity because you love yourself. So what other people think of you, it's nothing. It's just their opinion. You understand? But your opinion matters. What you see is the most important thing, because then you start appreciating yourself, you start loving yourself. Then you have that relationship with yourself where you say, yes, I know I have a big nose, I have, small eye, I have that. That's mine. It's mine. If you embrace yourself, you embrace the person you are, then that's beautiful. But then the minute you start questioning yourself, you're questioning God. God brought you in this world for a reason. Live for your purpose.
Live for your purpose. Now, your life changed in Berlin 2009 World Championships. And I'm very curious. You speak very candidly about the experience, and I'll leave that for people to read it in the book.
Yes.
But I wonder, have you ever been back to Berlin since?
Yes, multiple. Yeah. Berlin is more like my second home, man.
Yeah.
Look,
you
Berlin
don't have
is
like a resentment
for
the city and the
I have a love for that. It's just close to my heart, where I've always went back there. And when I'm there, I'm treated like a queen. You get what I'm saying? Whether I'm last, whether I'm not winning, whether I'm winning, Berlin people, if they know I'm there, they show up. You understand? I think it's more for when things are meant to be, they will be. Whether people came, question you, criticize you, but when you have history with a certain city, come on. For me, I've went there multiple times. I don't know how many times, but many. Last year, I ran in Berlin. I did not win, but, stand of ovation, it was like big. They clapped, they appreciate that. I know what it means, for me. I know, the importance of that place. You know what I'm saying? That was the beginning of my career. And I'll always, appreciate it and cherish it, So it's like when you see, Formula One and all those guys, there are certain guys they don't lose in a certain track. That's me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I'll say Berlin is it holds great memories. It holds sorrows. It holds disappointments and all those things. It's more of a mixed feelings where when I'm in Berlin I don't know what I feel. You know what I'm saying. So it's one of those places where I'll always want to go back. The track, I love it. I love everything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You speak also in the book, you said quite a few times, I never grew up poor. We didn't have much, we just had enough. I never grew up poor. And then I look at your growing up circumstances. You had no running water, you had no electricity, you would often hunt and catch rabbits, and sometimes you would feed your family.
Yeah.
You also didn't have a refrigerator growing up.
Yeah,
you got
of
it first
course,
after winning some prize monies,
Yeah.
right? So according to the standard of poverty, that is poverty.
No.
And how you say I was not poor.
I can't say I'm poor.
Yeah.
Why? If I have a meal on the table,
Yeah.
if I have a roof, if I have a bed, if I have those things. Poor is when you are like your parents can't afford anything. They can't take you to school. They can't, because we sometimes confuse being poor and being able, if you can't afford certain things. The time where I take care of my family, that's when they're in short of something. That's when that end of the month, even in your budget, there's sometimes where you are low.
Yeah.
You see, now we are here at East Coast, radio station, and then towards the end of the month, I'm 100% sure that sometimes even when you're fuel, you don't go full tank. You'll say, booty, 100 rand. You get what I'm saying? So it's one of those situations that people need to understand that let's not confuse being poor and just, being average and all those things. Poor are people who can afford nothing. No meal, they don't have shoes, no shelter, nothing. You are just homeless. You're just trying hard. You're hustling for another day, to have a bed, to have a roof under your head. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So for me, I'll say my parents were able to provide, for me.
Yeah.
But there were certain things that they can't, get for me. Like if I need a Lacosta, if I need that, when I see my friends, hitting them Cavellas, them Nikes, them Adidas, you get what I'm saying? And I couldn't eat meat every day. I know how it feels not to have a meal for a day or that, but I can't call that poor. And when you talk about the circumstances where we're coming from, no running water, it was not only me.
Yeah.
It was the entire village that they did not have water. You get what I'm saying? There was an entire village that did not have electricity. So I can't call that poor. I'll call that disadvantage because you're coming from a disadvantaged background where it's not developed. We were underdeveloped then. But then when, where, ANC start coming in, being able to build roads, it's good. It's good. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And hunting is part of African culture.
Yeah.
My forefathers, they used to hunt. We lived in a farming life where we hunt, we have livestock, and then we go, we do gardening, we do that, mealies, all those things, you may call it sweet potatoes, we do onion, tomatoes, and all those things. So I would say, for me, if my mom couldn't afford, I'll go, hustle. So it's more of a responsibility. I can't say I was poor. I had a roof, under my head. So
I love that.
People need to understand that. They need to understand the difference between poor, and just not having much. Those are the differences. Yeah.
You say often you stingy. You don't just blow money, but you love money, but you're not
money,
stingy. What is the stingiest thing you've ever done? Like you're okay, that was stingy, but I had to do this.
I'll say when you see that I'm matured enough. I never wanted to have a house. I never wanted to buy my own car. But when you realize, but I have to do it. It's a need. You understand? Now when you start understanding the difference between needs, wants, essential, luxury, all those things, you start saying, but I need a house. I'm responsible now. I want to have my own privacy. When you start dating, when the love is, it's hot, it's cooking. It's like hot potato. You can't control it. You'll be like, man, this thing of university, when your partner wants to visit you, sometimes you want to hide. So I don't want to hide. Now I need my own place. Then I look at the money. Oh, it's too much. You get what I'm saying? And then you look at the car. Now you want to have your own. I loved, transport, public transport. I love riding a taxi, a train. But I'm like, look, if I want to go places on my own, privacy and all those things, I kind of have to spend. I don't need to spend, but I don't want that. But for me, it's a need for now. You get what I'm saying? I think the stingiest, moments it's where you have to spend a lot of, the Benjamins, for your own needs.
For your own needs.
Yes.
Yeah. In the book, you speak about meeting Oscar Pistorius.
Yes.
How the first time you saw him, you thought he'd have the blades on, and he said,
yes.
No, I don't walk normally with blades. I run with blades.
Course, yeah.
You also touch on the fact that you were both loved by the world, and then at some point the world just criticized and gave you the worst. What is your relationship now with Oscar? Have you spoken?
No, not really. We haven't spoken because you have to understand when someone is in a situation like that, it's a family, issue where I can only go if, I'm allowed to be close. If I'm not that close friend as family, sometimes you give people a space. For me, if yes, I'm allowed to go visit, of course I'll go see him just to see how he's doing, because I know, how to be alone. I know how to be in the dark. I know, as people we differ. Yeah, we make mistakes. We make, we take, the routes. We make decisions that we are not proud of. You understand? I'm not God. I cannot judge. I don't know what has happened. But as a friend, as someone, I trained with, we shared a relationship. Yeah, of course, I'd love to see him just to see how he's doing, but not really just because I want to go there and, dig about, what has happened, what has transpired, but just to see, how an old friend is done, someone that I've shared a track with, someone that I've shared, moments and memories with him, just to see how he's doing and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd love to, just to see him.
Yeah, I hear you. You do say in the book, and I've said in many interviews, you never cry. You're just not a crier. Yeah. You can count on one hand the times you've cried. Yeah. Do you recall the last time you cried and what made you cry?
I can't remember. You see,
I literally cried about 4 hours ago. A little cry though, in excitement.
Of course, I cried when my grandmother passed on. Because when you bury someone, I would say it's a few weeks ago, about a month ago. Of course, when you start realizing that that person is no longer here, and you're not gonna see them again. It's paining to see that coffin going down. That it's gone.
And that's also the hardest part for me.
That's the hardest part, to see. So I'll say but it is what it is. She has lived her life. She's she was 94, 95. Yeah. So I'll say she has played a part. I appreciate that. I learned from her, and I am here because, I had to live with her, make sure that, I know about the responsibilities, how to take care of myself, about self-investment and all those things. So I'll say, But that was last time I think I dropped the tears.
And as we're getting to the end of our conversation, what's the latest with the case? We know that in Switzerland, you had a victory there, but it doesn't change world athletics for you. What's the latest with regards to the case, and what's your next steps? Yeah,
the latest will be, of course, the Swiss. I think they have appealed. They will take it to the high chamber. But for me, this is positivity, because when you're fighting for what is right, of course, I'll always advocate for that. I'll never give up. I'll not let, people come tell me as a woman, this is how you should be, to be a woman. No, you don't work like that. And for me, it's about going out there, reminding, women that, look, it's necessary for women to stand for themselves. It's necessary for women to start, if they want to regulate, it should be them. Not a man telling them, it's necessary for women's sports to be leveled. What about the men's sports? Is men's sports leveled? Are you going to tell me because Djokovic has been winning a lot of Grand Slams, there's something, that needs to be investigated? If he has good technique, he has good technique. Yeah. If Usain Bolt has got good, fast twitch muscles, his muscle fibers are good, are way greater than, anyone. Are you going to cut them out? No, you can't, So those are the things that we as women, we need to go out there, fight for what is right, fight for our right to regulate our sports, not men. But with the case, it's one of that ongoing, case. If it's not, it's not where we want it to be, we're never going to stop.
Yeah,
those people are old. I'll fight them till they retire, till we get to the right point. So, that's where we are. So probably we might go back to a court of arbitration, but I don't know. Yeah. My legal team will tell me if we're going. And yeah, this is one of the human rights. I think it's in the High Chamber. We'll hear in a few weeks what's the decision. But the case, now we're on. We're going to fight. We're going to fight. Yes.
I like that. Now, happy times. You're married. You've got two beautiful children. You're raising them. You've shared once or twice on social media a beautiful, family picture with you and your kids. Yeah. And people still come at you for that. People will say, and you mentioned in the book how they'll say, these are not your children, you're barren, like mean things like that. Yeah. What do you say to people who say things like that?
They must go get life. So my pictures are my pictures. So if you have a problem with what I put on social media, block me so you don't see it. Because at the end of the day, that's my life. That's not theirs. So that does not mean anything to me. It does not threaten me, because at the end of the day, look, I really have no time for people who use a free Wi-Fi. People who needs to, for them to connect, on their cell phones, have to go to the park. I work hard. You know what I'm saying? I work hard so I can live a good life. Yeah. So for me, when you comment and say, hey, my friend, I'm living a good life. Yeah. You must do something about your life. And when you look at their profiles, you can't find nothing. You only find many things, because they have no life. They have nothing to live for. Me, I have plans. I have plenty of plans. I have things to achieve. For me, my message to those who comment on other people's pages: go out there, live your life, own your life, do something about your life, because you're going to be like that forever. Show me your achievements. No, show me your achievements before you comment on my social media. Yeah. Me, I'm living my life. I'm raising my beautiful kids. Yeah. Man, life is beautiful. When you you fully mean to even do better. And like I said, I'm not going to worry about the 2% of people who are hateful, people who are coming there, angry, we don't know, because hey, go to school if you are bored. And people they must not misunderstand social media. Social media, as much as it says social. If you go understand the word social, you stop doing what you're doing. You start bullying people, start talking nonsense on that social media, because it does not build them. It does not make them, wealthy. You just remain the same person. But me, you build me. You see, that's why I always say people that I'm that, if I'm that a problem, that means I matter the most. Because when I post something, it comes to you. And then you comment. Then that means I am something. There's something that I'm doing. So imagine you're posting, I post, but you post, I don't comment. That means you're nobody.
That's a big ouchie.
No, you have to go hard. I have to do it, because at the end of the day, I'm just showing you that as a person, no, I care about people. I care, I love people. But people who come with nonsense on my social media, I don't see them. Your comments are just there to kill time. But at the end of the day, now when I sleep, I'm happy.
Yeah, I love it.
There's food on my table. Maybe it's only savannah. I don't know. It's one apple in your fridge.
One apple.
You can't even take your cousins or your kids or anybody to school. You're not doing anything.
Now, looking back, is there a moment that you can look back and say that was the happiest time of my life, and then this was the worst time of my life, if you had to give us two separate moments?
The worst is when I decided, I was desperate, for running. When I decided to take the medication, that was the worst, saddest moment. I was in the dark. I had no direction. I was just living life, And the happiest is when you become a parent, man. When you see those little toes, the voice, man, it fulfills you. I'm happy, man. I'm happy each and every day. When I see my kids, I'm fulfilled. When I'm home, with my partner, the family, that's the definition of life. It's got meaning. And then people will come and start questioning you, be like, hey, guys, do you have kids? If you don't have kids, don't comment on my post. You get what I'm saying? If you've got nothing positive to say, don't comment. You get what I'm saying? But I'll say the happiest moment is when you bring this little, souls in this life, and then you start parenting them, and they educate you how to be a good parent, because I believe that kids are the ones who can educate you, not someone else, because you learn from your kids how to be a good parent, nothing else. And the saddest moment I will say is that when I just sacrificed myself to take this medication that I didn't know where it will take me come on, I'm never gonna go back there. So
how do you want to be remembered?
I think I just want to be remembered of someone who advocates for what is right, someone who fights for what is right, someone who makes sure that they give up what they have, so that others can achieve. Because at the end of the day, for me, I played my role, and now there are a lot of people who look up to me. So I just want them to remember me as someone who who wants you to smile, who wants you happy, who just want what's best for anyone. I stand for humility. I just want them to remember me of that person who fight for her own people.
Right.
Yeah.
And my final question to you is, what would you say to 18-year-old Caster, who was the target of the most awful smear campaign, your medical records being leaked? You're an 18-year-old
of course,
on a world stage.
Yeah.
32-year-old Caster. What do you say to 18-year-old Caster?
What I can say to an 18-year-old Caster out there, or anyone who is young, I'll say, when you don't understand, ask. If you're confused, find light. Ask for information, ask for help if you don't understand, because if you don't ask, if you don't understand, you end up making decisions like I did, because you act out of desperation. So seek out for help, and if you are in a situation where you are not sure of, still go out and ask someone who can help you, to do that. Ask for someone to accompany you, because if you just decide based on what you see, people will manipulate you, people will do this and that, and you end up, regretting, or you end up taking your life. I'll say, just stay true to yourself, just find yourself, know yourself, understand yourself, and have the best relationship with yourself, because if you know yourself, you can never ever let anyone violate you. You can never let anyone do you wrong, because you know what you stand for, know your identity, know where you're going, the direction. And like I said, if you don't understand anything, seek for help, seek for advices, just ask around, or just have that relationship with your own, parents or your own family, so at least you are never alone.
You are never alone. Caster Semenya, The Race to Be Myself is the name of the book. I can't help but see the colors. I've just done a podcast on the general elections, and the colors of the book stand out for me. Was it intentional?
African National Congress. It's Mandela. Winnie Mandela. Oliver Tambo.
Thank you so much.
The Steve Bikos. If you look at the Pan African Congress, all those things. I'm about those colors. But I'm not a politician. But I follow that. I'll say the book, but it was not intentional. I was not even there. So now when you speak, you get me back to politics.
Back to politics. I thank you so much, Caster Semenya, The Race to Be Myself. Thank you for joining us on the Carol Ofori Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
That's the Carol Ofori Podcast. For thought-provoking conversations, listen at ecr.co.za under podcasts or your favorite podcast app.